freshmen back in chemistry class Monday. The school closed Thursday and Friday to allow for 4 full days of a thorough scrub down and airing out.
That makes sure that even as our cleaning crews come in, if there is something that gets missed, that the virus will naturally die on its own, and it'll give families a chance to hopefully heal and recover.
In Lakewood, St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic School remains closed, opening back up Tuesday. Dr. Matthew Varicki says strep throat has also been an issue in that community, putting extra importance on the number of sick.
Well, we're asking schools to let us know if they're seeing spikes in numbers. So if they were 3% today and 6% tomorrow, those are things that they're letting us know.
Getting kids back in the classroom takes vigilance on all fronts, from tracking the sick to proactive cleaning.
We just want to do all we can to keep our kids safe and well.
In Waxahachie ISD, a relatively new weapon that looks right out of Star Wars.
With the electrostatic charge as it's coming out of the nozzle, it's positively charged, and then it will wrap around surfaces and even get surfaces that you're not aiming at.
The district recently invested in 9 electrostatic sprayers that use dissolved chlorine tablets to easily zap bacteria and viruses like flu, strep, and MRSA on everything from chairs to school buses.
It's a two-edged sword. You spend the money to do this, and if it's working, you'll never really know one way or the other. But is it worth it? Absolutely, we think so.
All right, well, I had a chance to speak to DeSoto Janitorial, which sold those electrostatic sprayers to Waxahachie ISD. I'm told that the technology for the sprayers has actually been around for some time, but used mostly to paint cars, only now is it growing in popularity for disinfecting. And those electrostatic guns, by the way, that Waxahachie ISD is using, they run about $700, but they could go up into the thousands depending on how big of an area you're trying to cover.
And as it stands, restaurants are on limited service options during this time. The coronavirus changing the way they do business. ΛΕΠΑΚ is live in Fairhope, where one restaurant is going above and beyond to ensure employee and customer safety.
Yeah, Lenise, while a number of restaurants have closed temporarily, Ox Kitchen in downtown Fairhope is one of those ones that remains open, and the owner making it very clear that you can never be too clean, especially during these times. Curbside, takeout, or pickup. That's the name of the game for restaurants still operating during the outbreak.
Hello. Can I order a hummus, Greek burger, sourdough roasted Brussels?
Like others, Ox Kitchen in downtown Fairhope is seeing an impact.
You know, it has certainly slowed down. We're probably down 25–30%, which all things considered is not bad.
As the virus continues to spread, owner Bo Hamilton is focusing on what he can control.
The main thing we're doing is we're cleaning and we're sanitizing. And in the restaurant industry, sanitation has always been extremely important. Anyone that's worked in the industry knows that. We take it very seriously here. It's #1 on our list, and it was before all of this.
And he's committed to that, even taking it to the next level.
Anywhere somebody's going to be touching constantly, we're going to come in there and focus on those door handles and make sure that we're coating everything properly.
Armed with an electrostatic spray gun, Sean Kemper, owner of Kemper Industries in Daphne, explains how to hit and clean all the critical areas that may be missed.
But it basically charges the chemical, the disinfectant, so then we can get a proper spray, and it ensures a better contact time than your typical trigger sprayers. It'll evenly coat the surface, it'll get underneath some areas and just totally kill the virus and the bacteria that we're trying to kill with it.
Not only does it require no wipe, but leaves behind no chemical residue, adding greater peace of mind.
It's important to our customers, and it's part of our responsibility to the community. If we can do something that may cost a little bit to make sure that we're doing it right, we're going to do it.
And as a small business owner, Hamilton is encouraged by the stimulus package, especially the SBA loans and the speed it was done. We're live tonight in downtown Fairhope. ΛΕΠΑΚ, Fox 10 News.
As businesses invite more customers inside, preventing the spread of COVID-19 is a daily challenge. A local company has found a way to sanitize large areas fairly quickly. Ariel Brumfield shows us.
This is an electrostatic disinfecting backpack sprayer. It negatively charges the disinfectant, and once it's sprayed, it neutralizes any bacteria or virus in a particular area. It's a new product on the market being used by Affordable Quality Maintenance, a cleaning company in Bend. District's Brewery is the first stop for Brian Fellini, who is using this electro sprayer to kill things that might be present here, including COVID-19. He's tackling almost 8,000 square feet. Fellini says the sprayer costs a couple $1,000s, and his cleaning service charges businesses 10 cents per square feet.
So the disinfectant that I use, it dries clear. There is a 10-minute sit time to have the kill effect for Corona or SARS or many other viruses. Yeah, it's great. You spray it, you let it sit for about 10 minutes, it dries clear, and then the space is fully disinfected.
Fellini says the backpack sprays a mist consistency, unlike spray bottles or any other products that form larger droplets. He says it is safe around any computers or cell phones that a business may have.
We're just now rolling out the service, so the interest has been very robust, and I expect that we're going to be very busy.
And unlike traditional spray bottles that only hit one surface at a time, the backpack sprayer can go around corners, making it able to hit multiple surfaces at once. Ariel Brumfield, News Channel 21.
You know, these days it really does seem like we're disinfecting anything and everything we come in contact with, right? Well, today, one company let us tag along to see how they work to keep South Florida businesses safe and clean. Local 10's Andrew Perez is in Sunrise to show us.
This is a whole new approach to combating COVID-19. New tools, new methods, and these guys have been busy. They're on the front lines of this fight, too. They're not doctors, not nurses. They're disinfectors, taking precautions.
Preventative is being preventative, not reactive. You know, if you're going after it to make sure it never happens.
Scott Murphy is the co-owner of EnviroMaster South Florida, somewhat of a hygiene hero, you might say. They'll respond after confirmed cases of COVID-19 or beforehand to prevent the spread. The company's been working around the clock to clean up.
We're heavy in the restaurant industry and other recreational facilities, and of course they've all closed, but now we've moved to helping assure the safety of very large condominium complexes, of course, municipalities, and grocery stores.
Some of those grocery stores, like Bravo Supermarkets, using the service twice a week to disinfect and kill germs. Nursing homes also on the line. These guys suit up and they focus solely on cleanliness. Doctors' offices, condo buildings, a different approach to fighting coronavirus using various tools at their disposal.
We've been asked quite a few times to come out when there is a documented case.
Of course, cleanliness is a priority right now for all of us. The chemicals used here in this process, by the way, are considered environmentally friendly. That's the latest here in Sunrise. I'm Andrew Perez, Local 10 News.
This pandemic, practicing healthy hygiene is extremely important, but so is keeping the space around you free of germs. Fox 6's Casey Cronus is live in the newsroom with a local disinfection service that is working, I bet, day and night to blast away germs.
Amy, based in New Berlin, the company is busier than ever, and tonight we got a glimpse of one of their most popular services, the virus vaporizer.
So our first step is we want to spray all the touch points in the gym.
At Brew City CrossFit in Milwaukee.
Just anywhere that germs and diseases could harbor.
Nasty germs resting on kettlebells, exercise bikes, and everything in between stand no chance against this.
That sprayer emits a germicide that will kill colds and flus, norovirus, different forms of coronaviruses, swine flu, and 47 other organisms.
With each spray, Emily Casey and Lee Jarson say they are blasting 99.999% of the bacteria away on any given object.
The sprayer that we use actually places a positive charge on the germicide. If you were to spray it directly at a dumbbell, it would adhere to the entire dumbbell, not just the part that you sprayed it at.
Amid the coronavirus pandemic, the EnviroMaster Services franchise owners have had their hands full.
It's been insane.
The amount of calls that we've been fielding has gone up tremendously.
Gyms, bars, restaurants, and even grocery stores throughout southeast Wisconsin requesting their disinfection services. But they say there are certain areas at home you should focus on when cleaning.
Kitchen, bathroom, door handles, remotes. I don't think people realize how often they need to clean their cell phones.
And above all, these pros are reminding you,
wash your hands.
The chemical they're using is environmentally friendly. Casey and Jarson say a professional cleaning service like theirs should be used at least once a week. Given our current situation, they are cleaning for some of their clients, including Brew City CrossFit, as often as 3 times a week. Live in the newsroom, Casey Cronus, Fox 6 News.
I love it, Casey. One more time for the person in the back.
Wash your hands.
There we go. Great. Thanks a lot for playing along. Well, the Milwaukee
One of the world's largest airlines is taking some serious precautions as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. Take a look at this video. It shows a plane being disinfected with a fogger. The company says the expanded cleaning procedure kills germs on surface areas that are touched by passengers and flight crews. Delta claims that the fogging is safe and effective against many diseases, including the coronavirus. After the fogging is complete, the cabin is cleaned by hand.
New tonight at 5, a North Texas school district is turning to technology to help stay ahead of both coronavirus and the flu.
Garland ISD is treating classrooms, buses, and cafeterias with a disinfectant sprayer that they say is making a difference in fighting the flu. Our education reporter Wayne Carter checked it out.
This looks kind of like something out of the movies Ghostbusters, but it's actually Garland ISD's latest tool to keep students and staff healthy. Every day after school, Garland ISD campuses are getting treated.
It's an electrostatic mister, and we use a disinfectant in it. And actually, the electrostatic is charged, and it attacks all surfaces.
The district's been using the technology for 3 years now, mostly to fight the flu. Building service manager Charles Alexander says it's helped.
I used to get called weekly to go wipe down schools because they had 10% absenteeism. That has not happened a whole lot at all.
Coronavirus in the classroom could easily happen. Students are often seated in clusters with their desks right up against one another, sharing the same supplies. Coughs and sneezes easily spread.
Yes, some of my kids are very nervous about it. So we talk about that. We watch a video and we talk about how germs spread.
Teachers say they've had to calm kids' fears after they kept worrying any time a classmate would sneeze.
People are dying of that virus that's happening over there in China, and
I got really mad about that virus.
The fear and anger has been turned into action. Each cluster of desks has a team leader who makes sure every surface gets disinfected several times a day. And if someone sneezes, they also make sure everyone uses sanitizer. It's not about living in fear, but admitting schools have germs. One's Bradfield Elementary are taking on both day and night. And while all these tools really do make a difference, they're also making sure they teach the kids to just use some good common sense. Wayne Carter, NBC5.
Huntsville City schools are remaining open. The district is in prevention mode. As our Christina Ellsworth explains, they're using the top technology to fight the flu.
Schools and classrooms are breeding grounds for the flu virus, taking on an aggressive form among students and faculty. It is one of the reasons Huntsville City Schools is using special equipment to battle the virus. It goes by the name the Victory Sprayer, a green machine school custodians are using it to coat surfaces with disinfectants. It also uses an electrostatic charge.
It covers a lot of ground and it does a great job of disinfecting, getting in cracks and crevices and some areas that you might miss when you're wiping.
The sprayer was brought into play in December, in addition to what is already used to sanitize schools.
Especially in the elementary schools where you have the areas where the kids are touching, like the books and the scissors, things of that nature. So
at Whitesburg P8, our cameras were allowed to follow custodians as they cleaned classrooms during lunch periods. Used daily, the sprayer helps reduce cross-contamination.
I also am spraying tea tree and lemon oil all over my room to disinfect.
Second grade teacher Jennifer Rigney keeps cleaning supplies in her classroom as an added flu-fighting method.
I have 4 kids right now that are out.
Rigney says on top of the steps HCS is taking to keep schools clean, self-reliance is also important in this fight.
Make sure that they encourage their kids to keep their germs to themselves and when they're coughing and sneezing.
Teachers are asking their students to make sure they wash their hands and even use hand sanitizer. That way they can keep their hands clean and prevent the spread of germs.
In addition to the Victory Sprayer, the staff is using color-coordinated towels to wipe down surfaces. They've also got a 3-tier cart system where cleaning supplies for restrooms will be provided, but not in the classrooms.
In preparation for our return to flying from July, Ryanair has put in place some new measures to protect the health of our guests and our people and prevent the spread of COVID-19. Please check in online, download your boarding pass, and where possible choose priority and 2 cabin bags. Remember to check your temperature before travelling. It may also be checked at the airport, and if you don't pass this, you will be asked to return home. Wear a face mask or covering at all times, both in the airport and on board your flight. If you are checking in a bag, use our automated kiosk and deposit your bag at the bag drop desk. Use Fast Track where possible to limit your queuing time at security. Make sure to use hand sanitizers or hand wash as you pass through the airport. And where possible, try to maintain some distance from other passengers. Please don't queue at the boarding gate, as priority passengers will be boarded first. And there should be no dwelling in the boarding stairwells or air bridges. Have your passport open and scan your boarding pass to limit your contact. Be assured that all Ryanair aircraft are professionally cleaned and disinfected on a daily basis, which is effective for more than 24 hours. Our aircraft are fitted with state-of-the-art air filtration systems which operate to hospital standards. We will have a limited in-flight service on board our flights, consisting of wrapped snacks, drinks, and sales will be cashless only to limit physical contact. Queuing for toilets will not be permitted, and we ask passengers to remain seated at all times with their seatbelt fastened. On arrival, we ask you to keep your face mask on until you have left the airport terminal. Try to maintain some social distancing as you pass through the airport and at the baggage carousel if you are collecting a bag. At Ryanair, we are doing everything we can to get back flying, so we can reunite friends and family, allow people to return to work and begin to restart Europe's tourism industry. Thank you for flying with Ryanair, and for following these new health measures, which are to promote the welfare of our guests and our people.
As multiple states throughout the country are shutting down schools, districts here in Missouri are taking steps to get students ready to return from spring break.
Our Brandon Morano talked with Rockwood School District cleaning crews. He shows us how they're getting ready for students to come back on the 23rd.
The #1 priority at Eureka Elementary is keeping things clean.
We are disinfecting all the classrooms from top to bottom.
As COVID-19 concerns continue, these crews are trying to create a safe environment for students to come back to after spring break.
We're over disinfecting at this time frame that we would normally do, so we've stepped up our game on disinfecting. We bought some of those electrostatic backpacks to help us save more time.
As cleaning crews strap up, sanitizing the whole Rockwood School District, administrators are working behind the scenes, setting up plans to figure out what to do if classes are canceled.
Well, you know, at this point, no St. Louis County School District knows what's going to happen. This is new territory for us all.
Rockwood School District Director of Communication Alex Fees says the best thing schools can do now is prepare, like his district will be doing through next week.
We don't have any plans to close schools. We haven't been notified of any plans to close schools. We're just operating as if we're going to continue school after spring break unless we hear otherwise from officials at the state, the CDC, or the St. Louis County Department of Public Health.
Joe Trimberter has been cleaning classrooms for 17 years, but says he's never seen preparation like this.
Not this bad, no. I mean, the H1N1, we had to do a lot of this stuff too. But I mean, you know, every year the flu is usually a problem, and so we always step up our game during flu season anyway.
While making sure the safety of students is his #1 priority. In Eureka, Brandon Morano, 5 on your side.
We've also reached out to multiple school districts. Kevin Carl, who leads a discussion among local superintendents, says there are no plans right now to close any public schools in the St. Louis area, but he did say plans are in place to address a number of potential situations, including virtual learning.
Schools across the area are making a new investment to stop kids from getting sick.
A new device aims to clean classrooms in a way that other methods don't and also prevent the spread of germs. WCIA3's Emily Braun is live in Rantoul this morning. Emily, what is this device?
Christy, it's called an electrostatic sprayer, or e-sprayer for short, and developers say it's challenging the way we traditionally think about cleaning classrooms in schools. And they say it's the idea of it is spreading in a good way. Check this out. Rantoul's Ader Junior High School is just the latest to get this device, and they got it through a grant. Staff told me they want to take a proactive approach to fighting against germs so more kids and teachers can stay in school and not be at as high of a risk of catching things like the flu or norovirus. The developers say it will also save custodians time and increase their efficiency. They explain how this is more effective than other methods.
It goes across an object or a surface. It wraps around the whole entire surface. You're able to get to places where you can't normally get with a spray bottle or a disposable wipe.
Using this with the right disinfectant, we are hoping to be able to next year not have as many absences.
St. Joseph Grade School and Rantoul High School also use this, in addition to Champaign, Mahomet, Tuscola, and Monticello schools. And especially with the nasty flu seasons we've had, that's why the staff say they really hope that this device will start kicking in so that they can keep school running smoothly. Live in Rantoul, Emily Braun, WCIA3, your local news leader.
Possess to some of these unsung heroes.
Obtain disinfectant. We're able to get the electrostatic sprayers. We stop a building, starting with Old City Hall, TMOB, municipal office buildings, and also TPD divisions, fire department, parks and recs buildings for the whole city of town. We're doing this during the day and the night. The product's a botanical base, plant base, and it has no harmful side effects. We use the electrostatic sprayer because the sprayers can cover a larger area. It doesn't leave a residue. People have papers on the desk and computers. It dissipates on it. Equipment and that. We've been trying to keep the city safe. We've done every division in Tampa we've hit and disinfected. I think because we got on top of it early, we've had a very low rate of people contracting COVID in the city, and I think it has been very successful. Every time we show up at the police districts, they thank us.
I'd like to thank you guys for keeping us safe.
There are frontline people and like facility management, you know, we still have to keep the with my team and all the other departments in the city, and we want to keep them safe.
Big thank you to those guys. It is coming up on 20.
As the state continues to reopen, more people are heading back to the office. Some businesses are waiting until July. Some say they are targeting September 1st to try to make sure that they are ready to bring people back safely. NBC5's Alana Quillen is walking us through what office life during a pandemic actually looks like. Good morning, Alana.
Good morning, Laura. Well, people are really starting to leave their home office and just getting back into the real office now. I'm learning anything from sanitation to completely rearranging the office space. Companies are really doing anything they can just to simply get back to work.
Got the mask here.
Sean Butterworth of Stratus Building Solutions is gearing up to fight the spread in the workplace.
And our phone has been ringing pretty much off the hook for the last 2.5 months.
His company has been busy since offices reopened this month. Some need a one-time clean.
The other extreme we're seeing is some companies, you know, they have a positive case and they've cleared their space out. They need to get back to work.
Others just a weekly clean, like he's showing us here. A typical disinfecting sweep using something called an electrostatic sprayer.
When the gun spits out the disinfectant, it's like a static clean kind of process. Everything gets wrapped around, so it's a much more thorough process when it comes to disinfecting.
And it goes beyond sanitation. Suzanne Brazel, COO for Entos Design in Dallas, normally directs her team of interior designers to create office layouts.
People are craving getting back to the office.
But right now, their focus has shifted to helping clients retrofit existing office spaces for social distancing.
So looking at their behaviors and how they're going to use this space.
She shared some of their new COVID-19 layouts, creating paths of travel, sanitation stations, and no-touch areas. The big thing is barriers, like these clear shields for the desk to stay apart from coworkers.
You know, an easy solution for companies who may think, okay, if this doesn't last forever, I don't want to change everything in my office. I want to change it temporarily. But then some companies are coming to us and saying, no, I want this to be the standard going forward.
Yeah, you heard that right. Some companies are thinking about making this social distance office layout a permanent thing. Something else that Brazel says that she's noticing in her own office is doing are staggered days or AB schedules. It's where people switch off on when they come to the office and they stay at home. That really is helping people to limit that contact with their coworkers. Alana Quillen, NBC5.
All right, thank you, Alana.
In our back-to-school coverage, classes in Carson City resume August 24th with about 80% of the students on the hybrid schedule, bringing each to campus 2 days a week. Now, they'll find some expected changes, but as Ed Pierce reports, some of the most important preparations won't be readily noticeable.
Carson City Middle School will look much the same to a returning student. The changes are all on the inside. With a little less than half its usual enrollment attending any one day, these halls will be less crowded. Everyone, of course, will be wearing masks. There will be hand sanitizer dispensers on the walls. Water fountains will be turned off, but bottles still can be filled. Seatings in classrooms will be social distanced. But what students won't see is how these desks, chairs, and other furnishings have been treated. First with a special coating called a biolayer.
You can put it down either physically or with the electrostatic sprayer, and it actually forms small spikes that catch the virus and kill them physically. We can clean on top of that, which we'll be doing with our normal process cleaning quat disinfectant system twice a week, and then we will be disinfecting with an electrostatic sprayer twice a week in the classrooms and 4 times a week in all our common areas.
And it's not just the desks, the chairs, and other surfaces that are in for some extra treatment. The very air is going to be cleaner.
Daily, we're going to do a pre and a post occupancy air flush of the building. We want to get 3 total building air exchanges in one day.
and new filters have been added to the heating and air conditioning system. Much of this will mean extra man hours and some new duties for maintenance staff.
And we're also asking our teachers and our students to help out. You know, a couple minutes before the end of the class, if you could pick up larger items that are on the floor, then we don't have to pick them up when we're vacuuming.
These same changes will be in effect at all the district's schools. In Carson City, Ed Pierce, KOLO 8 News Now.
And tonight we're
Janitorial staff at many offices and businesses have been an integral part of keeping the place clean, but now they're in high demand.
So the conversation has moved from basic cleaning, emptying the trash, vacuuming, to a sanitation, disinfecting, germ removal.
With businesses like SVA here on the west side of Madison starting to make the final preparations before opening back up again, Stevenson says that their disinfecting services are being requested a lot more than before. With that, they're employing new technologies that can more effectively kill the virus.
These are impossible to get, so we are one of the few people in the state that have access to these type of machines. This is a critical piece, a tool for us to help our customers open up their doors and stay open.
It's an electrostatic sprayer. The way it works is water is mixed with disinfectant and is sprayed out with an electric charge. That electric charge makes the mixture act like a magnet to any surface that is sprayed. Because of that, the water gets in every nook and cranny and stays there to kill the virus or bacteria. However, that does come with a cost.
We've gone from green, conventional products to now products that kill.
While not as eco-friendly, the products are rated to disinfect human coronaviruses. And Stevenson says they're happy to be the key to help businesses open the doors again.
They're very excited to come back to work, and they've had us doing a full-out blitz, ready to hit the pavement.
In Madison, Francisco Almenara, 27 News.
Exercise is what they do here at Mills Gymnastics in Southgate. 2,000 people a week come through here, so the most important drill of all, cleanliness. The owner wondered with coronavirus,
is there anything else we can do? They're the experts.
Lanny Mills has had a contract with EnviroMaster Services, a hygiene company, for more than 6 years. But this is new as a coronavirus precaution. Meet the virus vaporizer.
Are you excited about seeing the vaporizer at work? Oh yeah, of course. Anything that's going to, they've been so effective with our restrooms, okay? I mean, we get compliments on our restrooms that I'm very confident that it's going to be as effective in our out areas.
The company says it will be. They service 500 businesses in Metro Detroit, but this service is being ordered up more than ever. The virus vaporizer isn't just cleanser being sprayed around.
A good analogy, janitorial companies like the toothbrush, we're like the dentist.
Keturah Brandis with EnviroMaster says it's deeper than that.
The virus vaporizer service actually uses a germicide that travels through the gun, and as you're traveling through the gun, it actually gives it a positive charge. And the positive charge allows that germicide to adhere to those hardcore surfaces like the desks and the toilet seats and the handles and the partitions, difficult things to reach for a janitorial company.
They say the oxidation makes it stick longer. They say it blasts the coronavirus away, but also more than 40 other bacteria and viruses.
It's not harmful to people, it's not harmful to the environment, and germs can't build up an immunity to it because it uses oxygen to kill. So it's unique in that way that it's very safe but very powerful.
Mills has no plans to cut down on the foot traffic coming through here, so he's banking on flipping the coronavirus fears on its head by doing the only thing he can, safeguard every bar, mat, and person in his gym that comes through. He's hopeful.
The darker the cloud, the brighter the silver lining, if you have the tenacity to find it. And maybe with this outbreak, people will be more health conscious of the habits, to prevent spreading.
So again, 500 businesses in Metro Detroit are using this company right now, and they're being offered up the chance to use this virus vaporizer. You may be asking the question, what do the feds say about this? Well, right now they are evaluating this particular product before they put a stamp of approval on it.
of 19 straight minutes of news. As you know, many parents facing a big dilemma right now. Should they send their children back to school in just a few weeks? Well, one local cleaning company says they can help ease parents' paranoia. Saida Abbas explains how.
It's a way to make the back-to-school transition safer for students. Timothy Tilton from Stratus Building Solutions is starting a massive disinfection plan called Project Protection.
Schools, they touch everything. Kids wander around more, so we have to be especially careful about doing sanitizing, special sanitizing, which we have special disinfectant EPA-approved virucides that we use.
This is video provided to 19 News showing a team hard at work using the electrostatic sprayer disinfecting system, which attacks germs in difficult-to-reach places.
The experts in Cleveland say they've been extremely busy cleaning office spaces in the middle of the pandemic, and they'll use that same technique to make sure children are safe to go back to school.
Project Protection has 5 ways to disinfect schools. This includes one-way wipe down, color-coded cleaning, smart spraying, tech disinfect, and hand washing warnings.
Well, the response has always been very positive when we go and do a spray or any special impact type cleaning, special sanitation cleanings. They can see the results, they can smell the results, it looks good, smells good.
The company wants to make sure proper steps get taken before students begin walking the halls.
It's a natural transition. We've already been doing schools, so this is just a natural thing that we do anyway. We've just stepped up some of the procedures to make it that much more viable and protective for the kids.
Reporting in Cleveland, Saida Abbas, 19 News.
Could it be this device right on your screen that we're about to show you that will really calm everybody down and help names like Delta get back on China's runways? You're looking at the Victory Innovations handheld sprayer. This is a cleaning device that helps companies, including Delta and many other names, from gyms to restaurants, keep their surfaces squeaky clean, more fast and easier. Let's welcome Victory Innovations CEO and co-founder Chris Guerreri. Chris, you're sold out, am I correct, of all of your products?
We are sold out for the next couple months, Liz, but we do have product coming in on a continual basis now.
These things aren't cheap. I mean, your handheld is about $700, and then you've got the one that looks like a backpack, which is what we're seeing right now. Those, because they can have more of the actual spray that goes in there, those are $1,750. Where do you manufacture these, and can we speed up those supply chains?
Yeah, absolutely, Liz. It's amazing. We started this company 7 years ago. We've been shipping product for 4 years, and just getting product here as fast as we need to has just been a major challenge. In fact, just yesterday we landed a 747 cargo plane that had 14,000 sprayers on it, ready to get out to distribution as fast as humanly possible. And as you mentioned, our backlog's really been in existence now since about March of this past year, but we've continued to bring in a stream of products. Our demand has literally gone through the roof, and we're shipping more than 10 times the amount that we normally would in this time of year.
All right, and I just want to let our viewers know, we've suddenly lost some steam on the Dow. We're now up 74. We had been up 200 within the last about 10 minutes, so we're keeping an eye on that. But Chris, explain to our viewers how it actually works, because, you now have the contract with the National Football League. You do have, of course, Delta and some gyms, I know, and some restaurants. But how can you promise me, if I were to invest in one of these things, that coronavirus is not going to live on surfaces?
Well, to be honest with you, Liz, the whole premise is that if you walk into a facility and it looks clean, it must be safe. We now know that there's a difference between an item or a surface being clean versus a surface being safe. And what we do is we allow people to spread disinfecting chemicals better than anybody in the world. And we do that because when you spray a chemical through our machines, we electrostatically charge those particles. We make them all positive. So think about your science class back in high school. And when you have the same charged particles coming out of a sprayer, they don't want to land on each other. They avoid each other. So they actually coat your surfaces with a real thin coating, which allows the chemical to do its job and kill any germs on that surface. In fact, if you spray things like a dumbbell in a gym, because they keep looking for clean surfaces, they will literally wrap themselves around the backside of those dumbbell handles. Or if you're not same thing will happen. So we really just provide a way to get 100% coverage on a surface.
You've got a list of big-name travel clients. What other sectors? You're hearing, I would imagine, from the casinos. Casinos were very hard hit. You think about touching chips and dice and the tables and everything. I mean, tell me what you can do for the casino industry.
Yeah, if you think about a casino, you've just got thousands of touch points in there, from the machines to the railings to the stairs to the restaurants to the cards and the tables. And what these folks are doing today, building service contractors, are walking into these casinos with our backpacks, and they're literally spraying every surface in the entire location, from the things that you would touch with your hands to where you would walk to where you would sit for dinner. And literally, as people leave those machines, they'll go back through and respray them. And the amount of spray that they put on there, depending on what they're trying to kill, it'll dry in somewhere between 3 and 10 minutes. So that machine or that hotel room could be used basically immediately after one guest leaves and they're getting ready for the next guest to come in. But it's just not casinos. As you mentioned, Delta Airlines came on board right when this pandemic struck. And we've all known that airplanes are a little bit dicey. We all get on there. We try to wipe down a little bit of the areas and the trays around us. But now they're going in between every flight and they're disinfecting the entire airplane. It's really phenomenal.
Chris, you're doing great work, and I hope you get that product back in, because there are a lot of people who want one of your sprayers right now. It's great to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chris Guerrieri of Victory Innovation. We co-founded it years ago without knowing a pandemic was coming. Not bad. Big move there.
More and more passengers are taking to the sky at Evansville Regional Airport. This is according to officials who say they've seen demand start to pick back up 5 months into the coronavirus pandemic. Samantha Johnson joins us live with the story.
Randy, one thing we noticed talking to passengers today, people are anxious to travel. In fact, one of the families we spoke with was on their way to meet a grandchild for the very first time. But returning to the terminal does not come without plenty of precaution and planning.
Things are improving.
Officials with the Evansville Regional Airport say travel was down 75% last month compared to the numbers from last June. But that's actually up from the 97% decrease the airport saw in April. Officials here say customer confidence is starting to ramp back up as airports make an extra effort to keep travelers safe.
I was a little apprehensive at first, but yeah, it's just like usual flights. It's just this mask you have to wear.
Not to mention the hand sanitizer, plexiglass shields, and plenty of social distancing. Even benches at the gate encourage a 6-foot distance between guests.
There's plenty of room. Part of it probably is that travel isn't as heavy right now, so there's not as many people, so there's plenty of room to sit.
Sanitation crews also have this machine, an electrostatic sprayer to clean even the hard-to-reach places.
Custodial staff can easily clean an area and then don't have to come back and re-wipe things down, and you can get in the crevices and all those kind of big advantages to a system like that.
But with air travel still down significantly from a typical year, how is the airport holding up financially? Hahn says there are no layoffs in sight, with careful planning from their leadership board.
Not that anyone expects this level of impact, and it will be significant, but we're able to kind of tighten our bootstraps and keep moving forward.
Now, when the airport was remodeled just a few years ago, they actually installed a brand new air purification system. Hahn said at the time they didn't realize just how important that would be just a few years down the line. Now, to see a full list of safety guidelines and travel tips, we've got a link for you on our website, 14news.com. Live in Evansville, Samantha Johnson, 14 News.
Businesses are no different.
Yeah, Casey Torres explained what the gym owner is doing to stay afloat.
It's been back and forth.
Originally they did 50% and they dropped this back to 25%.
So now only 40 people can be inside Republic Gym under the public health order. The co-owner, Reese Killebrew, says 200 members said goodbye to his gym.
We were closed for almost 71 days without generating any revenue. We had a lot of members that were still supporting us, which was great.
But it just wasn't enough. The financial hit from COVID-19 stings. And keeping up with professional cleanings on top of their own disinfecting wasn't in the budget. So Reese and his wife made an investment on this electrostatic sprayer.
When you spray it, you don't have to get underneath it. It's charged so it adheres to the entire surface.
Because business is hurting, Reese thought, why not use this machine to help lift himself up? So once the gloves go on, the spraying starts. At any business that gives Reese a call.
We started this business out of necessity and our need, and then we wanted to also help out the community.
Reese says they are keeping the price of the service affordable. In return, he gets extra money to pay his bills. But he wishes it didn't have to be this way.
It's definitely disheartening that we had to start another business just to stay afloat. We're all kind of doing what we can do, but it's definitely not our dream. Our dream is for, we're in the fitness business.
So until the weight of this pandemic isn't as heavy anymore, Reese and other small business owners will try to find a way to push through.
We're entrepreneurs. We're going to do whatever we can to keep going.
Casey Torres, QB4.
Is ramping up the cleanliness of their buses in an effort to combat COVID-19. Before the pandemic, the district purchased 2 electrostatic sprayers to clean buses. The company behind the technology says the solution in the sprayers kills germs in 3 minutes. NACS says all buses will be sprayed after their morning routes. The plan for the afternoon routes is still being finalized.
I mean, we're doing probably the same as or just about the same amount as what parents will be doing at home as far as keeping their houses clean. So very confident in the product, very confident in the procedure, and I think they're really safe.
A final decision hasn't been made, but it is likely that students riding the bus will be required to wear masks.
About it every day. We all have to do our part to have safer practices to kind of flatten that curve of COVID-19. Well, a sprayer a Hudson company developed is getting worldwide attention. In fact, our Brian Duffy has more on this story.
Yeah, very interesting story from here in Hudson tonight. A very quiet downtown Hudson, but this Hudson company and one of its representatives that we talked to today is making a lot of noise worldwide. Their product was involved in a video that went viral worldwide, and now demand for the product has exploded. The video shows passengers being sprayed with a disinfectant after flying from Wuhan, China, where the virus originated, to Indonesia. The sprayers being used were designed by a Hudson company.
We don't really condone spraying people, but we did find out that that was a chemical that is allowed to be used on people, and it's safe.
Chris Guerreri is one of the owners of Victory Innovations, the company that holds a patent design on the electrostatic sprayers. And as other companies saw the video, orders for the sprayers used for disinfecting surfaces took off. And here's why. When you use a regular sprayer, like a bottle of Windex or something, the product, even though it's liquid, still clumps together. And when you spray it, you can see that it still runs. But when you use an electrostatic sprayer, it charges the particles, creating all positive ions. And like 2 positive magnets, they will eventually separate, repel even, in the air.
So by spraying them that way, when they land, they also try to avoid each other. So a particle comes in, the next one comes in, and it'll move around it. And by doing that, and when they keep missing each other, they ultimately give you full coverage.
Christ Community Chapel here in Hudson has been using the product to disinfect the church for about a year. Delta Airlines sent video of their planes being disinfected with the sprayers to their medallion members, trying to explain to customers they would be safe flying. Victory is not celebrating how their product took off, only that it can be, they say, great help.
It's helpful. We're trying to get it to fire departments. The New York City Fire Department just reached out to us through one of our customers and is bringing in sprayers.
Now, Victory Innovation, of course, produces the sprayers. They do not produce the disinfectant. That is bought separately. These sprayers are on back order right now until June, and right now the product they really feel is going to be very popular once we finally get past this coronavirus threat, as businesses all over the country will certainly be looking at a different way to disinfect their offices. Reporting live in Hudson, Brian Duffy, 19 News.
We're Lysoling our room every day, our desks and our doorknobs and my desk, so we're doing things like that. The custodians have been doing a great job going around, cleaning the railings on the stairs, the doorknobs, disinfecting everything constantly.
The only new thing we've started is with the broad sprayer. It's called a Victory sprayer, and we go around and we're doing that now proactively. We started that back in early December, and what we're doing, we're trying to kill all the germs and bacteria that we can broadly. And then we're doing it during the day, we're doing it at night. And we also utilize a 3-cart cleaning system. That cleaning system helps us to ensure that we don't cross-contaminate from classroom to bathroom, and at the same time ensure that we're fostering hand washing and sanitizer and things of that nature.
Here at Huntsville City Schools, we do have nurses in each of our schools, and so the clinics are ready to provide whatever care the students need. We have masks available if students are exhibiting flu symptoms that our nursing staff is putting on the students. We do provide hand sanitizer in all of our classrooms. We also have hand sanitizer in our front offices, in our nursing clinics, and throughout our building at different stations. So this is very helpful in preventing the spread of illness and disease. So everybody's been really trying hard to keep things at a minimal.
Thanks, Tiff. As you send your kids off to school, you want them to stay healthy, of course, especially with the high flu activity in Texas and also coronavirus concerns worldwide. A Houston area school district has a new high-tech flu-fighting tool this year. Janelle Bluda explains how Klein ISD is keeping students safe and sound.
It's in the classrooms, the cafeteria, even clinging onto those calculators.
This isn't challenging?
Hundreds of students stroll these halls, eat at these tables, and sit at these desks every day. But while they study, bacteria spreads, cultivating a common fear, the flu.
We go above and beyond to try to keep students in the seats where they belong.
But Klein ISD is doing something to fight it. They bought these guns that seem straight out of Star Wars, but instead of blasting rebels, they discharge disinfectant.
We use them on an everyday and nightly basis.
The chemical concoction inside can eliminate not only the flu, but staph infection and norovirus as well. But with the flu, their primary focus, imagine their excitement learning it's nearly vanquished this year's virus.
We've had a reduction of 75% of flu outbreaks throughout our entire district.
Plus, what normally took hours to clean is now done in only minutes. The weight room, bathrooms, and cafeteria.
We disinfect these areas on a nightly basis, as well as our pre-K, our kindergarten rooms, our special education rooms.
The classrooms and everywhere else twice a week, bringing this high school to hospital-grade clean. It's a device that's not just keeping the virus out of school, it's keeping the students in. I'm Janelle Bluda for H-Town Rush.
Wow, it's reduced their flu by 75%. That's amazing. And it cuts time. Where can I get one of those? That's my question.
I have a feeling it's going to be a trend and more people, more school districts are going to want something like that. And a good reminder, just always, right now, good hygiene. Wash your hands. What do they say? 20 seconds, say the ABCs, everything.
Stuff. The basics.
The basics, absolutely.
Wish we should also do that when there's not a breakout.
Yeah, well, that too.
All the time.
Tonight, News 13 is also tracking the coronavirus for you, and businesses continue to slowly reopen, including Fun Warehouse in Myrtle Beach, which shut down due to the pandemic. News 13's Lauren Crawford tells us what the Myrtle Beach Arcade is doing to reopen safely.
The Fun Warehouse revamped business structure so gamers feel comfortable returning to the arcade. A disinfecting strategy, electrostatic spraying, also used on airlines, is keeping go-karts, machines, and laser tag equipment from spreading the virus. The arcade machines are a hobby, a pastime, and for some, a business.
I miss smiles. That's what we're in the business for. We're in business entertaining people.
Arcades are among recent amenities to reopen in South Carolina. They're also one of the most touched involved. Myrtle Beach's Fun Warehouse is using a new electrostatic spray among the long list of new guidelines.
It atomizes the droplets down to microscopic size, and when they make contact, it actually changes, as it dries on contact, and it kills the virus.
Employees use the spray to clean bounce houses, laser guns and vests, go-karts, and quick turnover areas. Business has been flat in comparison to other years. While some businesses are increasing prices and adding surcharges, Marks says his arcade pricings won't change.
I would be lying if I told you that I still wasn't scared or nervous about what's to come.
The shutdown did prevent the arcade from hosting parties during its most successful months, and canceled summer camps have also hurt business.
But of course we lost Horry County Rec Parks, and they usually come and visit us, and some other camps that aren't happening this summer, so we're definitely losing those revenues.
Despite the losses, smiles here are back.
You know, like we say on the door out there, if you're not ready to come back to Fun Warehouse, we understand. When you're ready and you feel comfortable, we'll be here for you.
The Fun Warehouse is continuing to schedule events and parties, but is cutting back the number of events scheduled. For the full list of guidelines that you can expect if you come to this arcade, head over to WBTW.com. In Myrtle Beach, Lauren Crawford, News 13.
Lauren, thanks for that report. As the pandemic continues, plans for reopening North Carolina's
It's in use in more than 40 countries around the world. It's a sprayer that uses electrostatic technology to thoroughly coat a surface and help kill coronavirus. When passengers arrived home to Indonesia from Wuhan, health workers sanitized them with a chemical using a device designed in San Diego.
And I feel at my age, at 56 years old, I'm finally giving something back to the community and to the world of the product that I have designed.
Clifford Wright spent years developing this using electrostatic technology.
I'm just going to point and shoot, and I'm going to spray.
It allows companies to use whatever chemical they want and easily clean a surface. Electrostatic allows the chemical to not only cling to a surface, but also easily get into every nook and cranny.
So we're just going to shoot over here, and we're going to come across this. The solution, the droplets are already on here, and we turn it around, and we got droplets all the way onto the backside of that. And that's called electrostatic wrapping.
This device is used in more than 40 countries around the world, and demand is soaring.
We can't seem to make enough product out of China.
But it's made about 700 miles away from Wuhan, and manufacturing across China is at a near crawl.
We're hoping to get support from the government, knowing that they need this product, and we're going to get some support to getting people back into our factory as soon as possible.
Meanwhile, Wright is working at home on new designs to keep growing the product.
Most entrepreneurs and inventors not necessarily always looking for profit, but what we've developed is going to be good for the community or for the world.
And just to help give you an idea of the demand for this product, he says there's a container of the product on its way to the United States. They've already sold out completely, so they are really hopeful that they can get this manufacturing back on track.
Here at 4:30 with the steps one company is taking to ensure travelers are safe if they take to the sky this summer.
Even though American Airlines will no longer require social distancing on the plane by allowing flights to be fully booked, there are many other rules now in place.
Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson got to check out the new system today. She's live at Philadelphia International with that story. Hey, Becca.
Brian and Jeanette, the new safety measures start at the check-in counter with things like the plexiglass shields, and when you go over to the kiosk, you're going to have to complete a health assessment before you can print out your boarding pass. But while these new safety measures are in place, the airline is taking away a big one, leaving the middle seat open.
American now requires you to wear a face covering, and during
this flight.
In this American Airlines terminal, certain seats are roped off for social distancing, and the crew has a new message for anyone who wants to get on board.
Unwilling to comply with this policy, you may be denied boarding.
On the plane, the crew has a new cleaning process that includes using a virus-killing electrostatic spray every week.
It's really important that we get it right, and I think what you've seen today are the various layers of security we have throughout the airport experience.
Still, starting Wednesday, the airline says it will start allowing flights to be booked at 100% capacity. That means the middle seat will no longer be open.
That was put in place long before we had the various layers of safety and security that we have in place today.
Sitting inches apart from each other.
The decision drew sharp criticism from Senator Bernie Sanders, who questioned the CDC and Dr. Anthony Fauci about the idea.
I think in the confines of an airplane that becomes even more problematic.
The airline thinks people should still feel safe. It says customers will have the option to switch flights for free if the plane is close to capacity. And while travel for this week should be the busiest it's been since before the pandemic, with 50,000 people expected to fly, that's still only about 30% compared to July 4th travel last year.
We absolutely feel that they should feel safe.
The airline also said that starting next week, it's going to double its daily flight departures to about 207. But if you compare that to last year, that's only about half of what they were doing in 2019. Live at the airport.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey, a Delta Redcoat. I know it's probably been a little while since you've been on a plane, but don't worry. I'll be walking you through all the steps that Delta's implementing to keep you safe while on board and at the airport. We call it Delta Care Standard. Delta Care Standard means you'll experience safer travels in 3 layers when you fly with us now. 1. The highest standards of cleanliness. 2. More space. And 3. Safer service. These layers are important because there is no single solution. We're consulting closely with medical experts to develop Delta Care Standard. And we go beyond what's required to make sure we provide you the safest travel experience possible. At every step of your journey, you'll see Delta Care Standard in place. Every flight, every day, everywhere. A day or 2 before your flight, you'll receive an email from Delta with the latest information on what to expect, a checklist outlining how to prepare for your trip, and a link to an infographic detailing all the measures we put in place for your care. We also recommend downloading the Fly Delta app, where you can get your digital boarding pass to reduce touch points at the airport and receive important notifications throughout your trip. First off, remember your mask. They are required to be worn at the airport and on board the aircraft. Upon arriving at the airport, if you have to check a bag, we've placed floor decals throughout the waiting area so you can distance yourself from other passengers while in line. We've installed plexiglass barriers at all counters, and we're cleaning kiosks and surfaces throughout the day at check-in, Delta Sky Clubs, and gate areas. You'll also find hand sanitizing stations placed conveniently throughout the airport. These added layers of protection provide a consistently safer experience throughout your journey. When you get to security, you'll find TSA officers are now required to wear masks and gloves. They'll also ask you to scan your own boarding pass. If you are a Clear member, you can verify your identity using your eyes, enabling a touchless verification experience at security. You can head to tsa.gov to find the latest information on any changes happening. Some changes, like being able to bring more hand sanitizer, are a plus. Some of our clubs remain open. We have consolidated clubs, discontinued shower service, and we've switched from a buffet-style food option to a pre-packaged food option. At Delta Sky Club and our gate areas, you'll find additional measures of cleanliness, more space, and safer service methods in place. We're implementing one of the most important cleanliness factors you can't see. We're using an electrostatic sprayer to sanitize the aircraft. We spray and sanitize all surfaces, including overhead bins and lavatories thoroughly before every single flight. Don't worry, it's immediately safe to breathe afterwards. Every night, we spray and sanitize the jet bridge and gate areas, and we're expanding it to catering and baggage claim. Our teams wipe down and sanitize high-touch surfaces and lavatories. The Delta difference means we are committed to these cleaning measures now and always. Flight attendants and gate agents walk the cabin to spot check. And if it doesn't meet Delta's new standard for cleanliness, we are empowered to call the cleaners back onto the aircraft. Before you board, the Fly Delta app notifies you when the extensive cleaning of your aircraft is complete. As you board the aircraft, you'll find that we are boarding in smaller groups. We'll start at the rear of the aircraft and move forward to reduce contact in the aisle. At Delta, we're committed to giving you more personal space on board, reducing cabin capacity to 50% in first class and 60% in main cabin. Families will be able to sit together on board if they choose to. You'll be offered a snack bag, including a bottle of water, snacks, and a hand sanitizing wipe or gel pack. It's part of our overall effort to deliver service safely. As you settle in your seat, please let your flight attendant know if you have any concerns. We still offer world-class entertainment, so you can relax, plug in, and tune out. And you can stay connected with Wi-Fi access and free messaging. We understand that cabin air quality is critical to feeling safe. The air on all of our aircraft is completely refreshed 10 to 30 times per hour. Air flows into the cabin from above each seat and is pulled out at floor level. This helps limit person-to-person airflow. Air is then refreshed with outside air and air that's been filtered through high-grade HEPA filters, which function in a similar way to filtration systems used in hospitals. These filters remove 99.99% of particles, including viruses. To be extra safe, we replace filters twice as often as recommended. Once you arrive at your destination, remember to allow some extra space while deplaning front to back, again in smaller groups to reduce contact in the aisles. When you pick up your bag, you'll notice distancing markers and sanitizing stations throughout baggage claim, so you can stay safe even as you depart the airport. With all these added layers of protection, Delta is committed to a safer experience for your family and for ours, because without health and safety, we have nothing. But we're not stopping there. We're constantly updating best practices and improving our new standard of care based on expert medical advice. We hope to see you back on board very soon. Until then, safe travels.
And now to the reopening of New York City schools. Members of the New York City Council are joining the calls for a delay. Classrooms are being cleaned for their planned reopening on September 10th. The teachers' union says it will fight to prevent schools that don't meet safety standards from opening their doors today. The chair of the council's education committee is calling for a delay, saying there's no plan from the Department of Education.
Since they don't really have a fully thought out plan that's funded and fully materialized, the message to school communities across the city is figure it out on your own. Do we have the budget to deep clean schools every night that takes us past October? I don't think we do at this time.
Mayor de Blasio says schools will be ready and the city's planning to hire 500 school nurses.
Before we all became hyper aware and vigilant about spreading germs, school superintendents dealing with children in the flu understood the difference between being safe versus just looking clean. Well, now the world is waking up to that distinction, and there are all sorts of products in high demand. 7 on Your Side takes a look at the products that are going to help get us back to work and reopen again. Here's Nina Pineda.
It's being used to clean everything from subway cars to shin guards. The New York Jets say it has been part of the regular cleaning practices at our facility in recent years.
We started selling sprayers in 2016, and to be honest with you, the only folks that would really listen to us were schools and hospitals.
Schools ordered the special sprayer to prevent high absenteeism during flu season, and hospitals to battle deadly superbugs like MRSA. But now with every business trying to get back to business by keeping tables, chairs, and surfaces free from coronavirus, disinfecting is essential to opening safely.
When you're in this business, and in this cleaning business or the property restoration business, you want the tool you're going to use to work.
Stephen DeLillo is the New York general manager for Belfour Property Restoration. They've been hired to disinfect dozens of casinos, companies, and buildings to reopen safely and are using the Victory electrostatic sprayer.
If it didn't work, we would find something that did, because we're in the business of helping you now and moving on to somebody else.
The handheld device, which retails for about $700, works by electrostatically charging a disinfectant of the user's choice, helping it land and spread out on surfaces.
Every week we get a different business channel that starts calling us. It started with Marriott, then it led to a bunch of hotels. It went to Delta on the airlines, and then it spread through the airline industry. It went into Planet Fitness, and now it's spreading through the fitness industry. We've gotten some restaurateurs calling from New York, and now it's starting to spread there. We've got concert venues. We've got the NFL teams calling today because they're opening back up. We've had government buildings, police departments, fire departments in New York City.
Do you think your product is going to help get the world open again?
I know for a fact that it actually is.
And those in the cleaning industry say they saw this coming and certainly didn't want a pandemic to be part of increasing business, but are happy to be part of the solution now.
Battle is brewing tonight over whether New York City schools can safely reopen on September 10th. The mayor says absolutely.
The unions, though, disagree, and they are threatening to go to court to prevent students and teachers from entering schools. CBS 2's political reporter Marcia Kramer has this story.
Teachers Union President Michael Mulgrew is drawing a line in the sand, say he would do all in his power to prevent schools that don't meet stringent safety standards from reopening next month, even if it means going to court.
We do not want our schools or the lack of the safety in reopening the schools to be the cause of recontaminating our city again. We're not going to have it. And that's just, everyone's going to wrap their head around it. We will stand, we'll do what we need to do to make sure that that does not happen.
The Teachers Union president telling CBS 2 he has a team of 100 people going to each one of the city's schools to determine readiness. So far, he says, the picture is bleak. I asked him how confident he is that schools will be ready to reopen on September 10th.
25%. I just don't believe at this moment, because we started so late and everything is being rushed, and people don't understand it's not just about delivering PPE and cleaning products. It's that every school then has to customize every piece of their safety plan to their school. They have to train their staff.
Mulgrew puts the blame on Mayor de Blasio, who, he says, didn't focus on the problem of school reopening until last month. His message to de Blasio?
We've yet to see you actually get your job done, so let's see you do your job.
Mayor de Blasio insisted schools will be ready, and he announced plans to have the health and hospital system hire 500 school nurses, answering one of the concerns of teachers, principals, and school superintendents. What are you going to do if teachers and principals decide that their questions haven't been answered and they decide not to show up?
People have a job to do, so there's not a question in my mind. People are going to show up because it's the right thing to do for our kids.
Some teachers have told CBS 2 they won't show up on opening day. Bushwick special ed math and science teacher Carlos Olivieri says he has fears.
Absolutely. You know, I have a mother that I take care of at home. I do have the very fear of becoming infected and possibly passing that along to people that are dear to me.
Mayor de Blasio insists he still has a month to get all the schools up to snuff. The unions say, we'll see. In the Riverdale section of the Bronx, I'm Marcia Kramer, CBS 2 News.
Across the country are making dramatic changes to the way they clean facilities amid the pandemic.
But they're not all living up to these higher standards. CBS 2's Jessica Moore tells us what you need to know before you plan your stay.
Marlon Castrillo spends an extra 10 minutes in each room at the Marriott in Bethesda, Maryland. Cleaning starts by disinfecting the room using this electrostatic fogger and its hospital-grade disinfectant mist.
We know that guests believe quite reasonably that they can control their interactions with people in a hotel. Once you've gotten into your guest room, you are in your own space. And so the challenge for us is one we think we can meet, which is, can we deliver a room that the guest can have confidence is clean?
But that's not the case everywhere. An Inside Edition investigation found multiple New York hotels, including the Trump International, which is owned and managed by the Trump Organization, Hyatt Place Times Square, and Hampton Inn Times Square, did not adequately clean the rooms between guests, including failing to change the pillowcases and bedding. While the Trump Hotel categorically denied Inside Edition's findings, Hyatt Place and Hampton Inn apologized for the housekeeping oversight and promised to do better.
At a time when hotels are only operating at about 24% occupancy, they have no excuse for not changing the pillowcases and not cleaning them.
CBS travel editor Peter Greenberg says while most hotels are doing right by their guests during this pandemic, hotel hygiene has always been an issue.
I go back to what I used to do before the pandemic. My checklist was every time I entered a hotel room, I would take the bedspread and throw it into the corner and never touch it again.
Greenberg says guests should also manually clean their remote controls, telephones, and bathroom water glasses. And when it comes to the pillowcases you'll be resting your faces on.
Let's just assume the worst. So when you go to the hotel, call downstairs, ask to speak to housekeeping, ask them to send 2 more pillowcases out. It's all about the conversation. This is not something you do online.
A few easy steps to ensure your next hotel stay is safe and COVID-free. In Manhattan, Jessica Moore, CBS 2 News.
Hospital was considered the epicenter of the pandemic in New Jersey. The Bergen County facility had hundreds of patients. Now it's down to just a few. CBS 2's Alice Gaynor reports on how things are switching back at the hospital to allow elective surgeries to resume.
During the worst of it, Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck had about 250 COVID-19 patients. 4 staff members even died from it.
A moment of silence, a moment of grief, and then everybody had to return back to where they were because there was no time to stop and think.
Michelle Aceto is the director of nursing operations. She says the hospital was so inundated, it added more than 100 beds and constructed 5 more ICUs.
Today we're down to 9 patients.
And new COVID patient admissions are down to about 1 to 2 per week.
Where at the height of the pandemic, we were having 1 or 2 every 15 to 20 minutes.
As you can hear, it's relatively quiet out here. They say that is another noticeable difference.
We heard the ambulances coming. At the height of things, there were overhead announcements, almost constant emergency response.
The worst of the crisis behind them, the hospital is now set to resume elective surgeries.
Orthopedic cases, we're going to see general surgery, some gallbladder surgeries, things of that nature, until we ramp up to full speed.
Patients will be tested for COVID-19 72 hours before the surgery, and the no visitor policy remains in place. The entire institution was cleaned using a 5-step process that involves UV lights and electrostatic disinfectant sprayers. So what becomes of all the new construction and other equipment used during the pandemic? ICUs in areas like a conference room will remain, and so will the additional 270 negative pressure beds. That keeps contaminated air where a patient is from escaping, filtering it outside through a HEPA filter.
In the event that there is a second wave, or if this occurs at another time.
So now the goal is to get the message out to those who need surgery.
The last thing we want to see is the person who's waiting, and then they've waited so long that their illness is beyond repair, or they've become sicker because of it.
They say they're more prepared than ever before. In Teaneck, New Jersey, Alice Gaynor, CBS 2 News.
On social media of packed planes from passengers worried about social distancing.
American Airlines gave us exclusive access to show what it's doing to keep people safe. Many new procedures are in place, but is it all enough? Here's Scott Gordon.
These are the images airports and airlines want passengers to see. Extra workers hired to wipe down everything someone might touch. Workers wearing masks. New plexiglass shields installed at ticket counters. Planes themselves deep cleaned and sprayed with an aerosol chemical-grade disinfectant.
We do our enhanced cleaning with more focus and emphasis on the high touch point areas for our customers, which wasn't done before. This is done on every aircraft and more frequently on arrival.
American Airlines allowed us to take these pictures on an empty plane at DFW Airport and gave us access inside Terminal C. The terminals are largely empty. Just about everyone you see is wearing a mask. Masks are required to get on the plane. But some passengers say the airline isn't doing enough. Will Vickers just flew from New York to Alabama.
They rushed us to get on the plane. They did all group boarding from 1 to 4, and then they did from 4 to 9. So all of us came together like that and boarded the plane. It was shocking.
On the plane, he took these pictures of what he says were cramped conditions. He was in the middle seat.
I thought I was going to be okay for a little while, and then just one person came and sat beside me, and then another person, and then another.
American says it's doing its best to allow social distancing.
The middle seat is blocked. We have 50% of our middle seat blocked to give that extra space to our customers.
The airline adds it's using middle seats only when necessary. Vickers says that's not good enough. What would you like to say to American Airlines?
Just don't tell people you're going to socially distance as best you can. You have to do it or say it's not a thing at all.
And on a crowded plane, he says it's impossible to keep people 6 feet apart.
I'm so afraid that I contracted something. I really am.
You're afraid right now?
Yes, I'm afraid because I'm coming down from the epicenter.
We care about your safety and your well-being, and we try to match and exceed the CDC precautions to ensure that, you'll be flying with us soon.
American reassuring customers that flying is safe. But even with all the new precautions, these days that can be a tough sell. At DFW Airport, Scott Gordon, NBC5.
And as for Will Vickers' trip, American says it has talked with him. The airline tells us neither flight he was on was full, and they say both complied with its policy of only using half of the middle seats. We've also heard complaints about some passengers not wearing masks on board. American says that masks are required during flights, but the airline will not challenge a passenger who says they have a reason not to wear one.
Year-old son are among the 300,000 families that received hotspot-enabled remote learning devices from the City Department of Education ahead of schools reopening.
Sometimes the Wi-Fi connection is poor based on other carriers, clashing.
She worries her son could fall behind in first grade if his internet can't keep up on the days he learns from home.
It freezes. What do? Sometimes you can't always reach out for help.
A new study from the nonprofit Common Sense Media found 27% of students and 9% of teachers in New York State do not have adequate internet access at home.
If you live in public housing, for example, the thick concrete walls in a lot of older public housing can block signals from coming through.
Policy advisor Danny Weiss says this digital divide exacerbates the learning gap between the haves and the have-nots.
It's another way that we're seeing where the coronavirus is highlighting racial and economic disparities.
And that's before we even get to the health concerns. Teacher Doug Condon worries about how susceptible educators are to getting sick normally.
In the fall, every teacher I know gets sick because once you get all the kids back in the building, you pick up colds, you pick up the flu. It's just every fall, everyone knows you're going to get sick. But now it's getting sick with something which there's no cure for.
The city says 4 million face masks and more than 3 million bottles of hand sanitizer will be provided to schools. But when asked how remote learning will work or who will be teaching remotely, the mayor and schools chancellor had little to offer.
It's a work in progress. Some of this will be determined in the actual doing of it, like so much of the rest of life.
We are in the throes of all of those detailed planning processes right now.
Families can still request remote learning devices from the DOE. The chancellor says ideally students will learn remotely from teachers in their own school, but that's not guaranteed. From the South Bronx, Allie Bauman, CBS 2 News.
And the Brazos Transit District in Lufkin serves roughly 5,600 riders every month. As a precautionary step, they are increasing the intensity of their sanitation procedures on all vehicles. KTRE's Aaron Whitus visited the Jennings station in Lufkin to learn the three-step process.
All of their drivers are trained on communicable diseases and the preventative steps.
one being cleaning frequently touched surfaces on and off their vehicles.
Things like keyboards, doorknobs, light switches, phones, and in the bus, the handrails, seats, the pull cords, anything that would be frequently touched, we clean daily.
The disinfecting takes place at the end of every shift. There are 2 shifts per day for each driver. And since they've started this, more supplies have been purchased.
I would say that they have doubled, just to keep the precautionary measures and just make sure that everybody's safe, and just to give people the peace of mind that we are doing everything that we can to prevent the spread of coronavirus and all the other communicable diseases.
The 3-step cleaning process starts in the back of the bus with the handicap lift and moves toward the front, cleaning seats, rails, pull cords, windows, and anything people come in contact with.
We'll start with the soap and the water, and we're just going to wipe any surface that may come in contact, especially the touch bars.
Next, they go over the same surface with disinfecting wipes. Lastly, the added step, the electrostatic sprayer, which they began looking into at the beginning of the year.
We started looking at it and thought that it would be in our best interest to go ahead and purchase these sprayers, and they came in just in the nick of time.
The spray helps with steps 1 and 2.
This gives the disinfectant a positive charge, which helps it adhere to all the surfaces.
The process takes about 10 minutes to thoroughly complete. Barbie said he has noticed an increase in the way people are handling things.
They're using napkins and paper towels to touch surfaces rather than barehanded like they would.
Aaron Whitus, KTRE, East Texas News 9.
Have returned to the classroom already. Today was the first day for Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas counties. As these schools are reopening, one local company says it's working to keep students returning to the classroom safe with new technology. CW44's Andrea Alvarez has the story.
Well, it's kind of like this. Imagine a device that could spray disinfectant onto something, and that spray wraps around the item like a web, killing germs. It's making its way to classrooms all across Tampa Bay and now the rest of the country. It kind of looks like something out of a Disney movie. The virus vaporizer device is being used in classrooms and daycare facilities across the country as students head back to school.
When the product's passing through the gun, it puts an electrostatic charge to the product, and that's a positive charge in the product. You can't get that out of your aerosol can of Lysol. So it'll wrap around, like say a desk chair, the desk feet. It goes all around, up and around everything, and touches everything and disinfects all the total surface rather than just the top of the surface.
The idea for this new technology started right here in Tampa Bay, but experts in sanitation say it was developed long before the pandemic.
We started using it as a test in 2016. Now with the pandemic, what's going on, it's a great tool for us to do what we do.
And as schools reopen across the state,
on average, students come in contact with over 150,000 germs at school every day. And when you add COVID to this situation, it just brings it to a higher level of what they need to get done.
Experts at EnviroMaster say they've made it their goal to help protect students.
The preschools and the daycares have been able to take advantage of what we've been doing, and it's proven that their coronavirus outbreaks have been low.
Microbiologist Dr. Charles Gerba conducted a study in University of Arizona classrooms with the virus vaporizer device. He found reduced levels of bacteria by 99.2% on surfaces in the room. 5 days later, the number was still down at 79.2%.
It's definitely taken us to the whole new level and awareness of what we do. And now with the pandemic, it just makes it aware for everybody to be able to take advantage of what we do.
And while experts are pushing to get new technology like this into more Tampa Bay school districts,
the public school markets, it's a tough nut to crack even for our business to get into. They have their own protocols.
He says the disinfecting doesn't stop here.
We need to help our community be safe and feel our community needs to feel safe to send their kids back to school.
I'm Andrea Alvarez, CW44 News at 10.
Fire departments are going to get a donation of some serious sanitation equipment today. NVP Healthcare, CDPHP, and Quick Response all teamed up to provide 2 electrostatic sprayers. The backpack and the handheld units can disinfect large areas very quickly, and this is similar to the, these sprayers. Looked them up not too long ago. Pretty interesting equipment. It's a huge backpack unit, and you can cover a huge amount of space with these.
Ready to jump off your couch and go see a movie in person? Well, movie theaters are now reopening in our area after closing at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. 8 News reporter Sierra Fox is live at AMC Midlothian 10 in Chesterfield. And Sierra, going to the theater is going to be a little bit different, right?
Yes, Constance, a lot different these days, but as they say, the show must go on. Movie theaters are opening at limited capacity, and you'll notice empty seats around you in the auditorium to ensure social distance.
It's showtime. Local movie theaters like AMC Dine in Midlothian 10 are welcoming guests back. Kevin Grayheck and Kadar Gaddy say they've been waiting on the edge of their seats.
So how does it feel to get out of the house, escape, and come watch a movie?
It feels pretty good. I'm pretty excited to see it because I've kind of been cabin fever for a while.
Zamara Maldonado and Jaime Jurado say they've streamed everything there is to watch from your couch at home.
Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu.
A lot of subscriptions.
And there's nothing like watching a movie on the big screen.
Well, it's more like the theater, the cinematic view. It always feels like better to be immersed in it rather than be at home.
The open theater comes with a new feel with changes to keep you and your family safe. Crews sanitize high-touch areas, and the theater also disinfects the auditorium before each showtime. Masks are required before, during, and after the movie. If you forget yours, a mask can be purchased. The mask can only be removed when eating or drinking. Most moviegoers say they feel comfortable and gave a grand review.
I feel that if more places open safely, that a lot of people could be a lot more happier and not stir crazy being inside their homes.
Tonight,
The Action News Jack's Lorena Inkland spoke with the superintendent of Catholic schools who broke down what parents and students can expect this year.
This was the cover of the St. Augustine Catholic this month. You can see the teacher and students all wearing masks. For the Diocese of St. Augustine, planning reopenings for all 7 counties where it has schools has been a challenge. And the superintendent told me today that their plan could still change. Since May, leaders at the Catholic Center for the Diocese of St. Augustine have been planning how students and staff can safely return to class. Superintendent Deacon Scott Conway says there will be many changes.
In our schools, we'll be adding this year that everyone will wear a mask.
The diocese has also purchased electrostatic sprayers that they've been using inside parishes and early learning centers, which never closed.
Electrostatic sprayers use a chemical that becomes ionized so that it sticks to surfaces.
The diocese has 38 schools in these 7 counties. Conway tells me they've been reaching out to parents to see how comfortable they are in allowing their kids back.
What we're seeing in the numbers right now is it looks like about 80% want to come back to brick and mortar.
For those who do return, their parents will need to sign a waiver.
Those waivers have been recommended by our attorneys to have in place.
But virtual learning will still be an option for those who aren't comfortable going back yet. Field trips and other activities have also been canceled.
We're going to have to continue to keep monitoring and changing our plan to match what's happening in the world.
The reason the diocese had to push back its reopening wasn't because of the number of cases, but rather because they're still waiting on delivery of PPE, cleaning products, and other technology devices. Reporting from Mandarin, Lorena Inkland, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Texas School District is turning to technology to help stay ahead of both coronavirus and the flu.
Garland ISD is treating classrooms, buses, and cafeterias with a disinfectant sprayer that they say is making a difference in fighting the flu. Our education reporter Wayne Carter checked it out.
This looks kind of like something out of the movies Ghostbusters, but it's actually Garland ISD's latest tool to keep students and staff healthy.
Every day after school, Garland ISD campuses are getting treated.
It's an electrostatic mister, and we use a disinfectant in it.
And actually the electrostatic is charged and it attacks all surfaces.
The district's been using the technology for 3 years now, mostly to fight the flu. Building service manager Charles Alexander says it's helped.
I used to get called weekly to go wipe down schools because they had 10% absenteeism. That has not happened a whole lot at all.
Coronavirus in the classroom could easily happen. Students are often seated in clusters with their desks right up against one another, sharing the same supplies. Coughs and sneezes easily spread.
Yes, some of my kids are very nervous about it, so we talk about that. We watch a video and we talk about how germs spread.
Teachers say they've had to calm kids' fears after they kept worrying any time a classmate would sneeze.
People are dying of that virus that's happening over there in China, and I got really mad about that virus.
The fear and anger has been turned into action. Each cluster of desks has a team leader who makes sure every surface gets disinfected several times a day. And if someone sneezes, they also make sure everyone uses sanitizer. It's not about living in fear, but admitting schools have germs. One's Bradfield Elementary are taking on both day and night.
And while all these tools really do make a difference, they're also making sure they teach the kids to just use some good common sense. Wayne Carter, NBC5.
Begins in just 9 days on August 24th. The FHSAA made the decision Friday afternoon. Action News Jack's Jamarlo Phillips shows us how football coaches say they're already making preparations to keep students safe.
It was decision day for the Florida High School Athletic Association regarding fall sports. Board of Directors voted 11-5 in favor of starting the season on August 24th. That's in less than 2 weeks.
Now with everything going on, I'm kind of iffy.
That's how parents of student athletes like Jacoby Lane feels after today's vote.
I hope that they have the correct barriers in place to where, nobody gets sick.
Lane says her son is in the 9th grade and will attend Andrew Jackson High School this fall where he will play sports. She doesn't want to be the reason her son can't play.
He really wants to play and he's excited about it.
Westside High School head football coach Rodney DeBose tells me he's already been thinking about ways to keep his team safe.
There's a couple products out there as far as shielding inside of a helmet. I'm interested in getting some of that.
Not only that, DeBose says the community is stepping in to help out too.
We're blessed. We have a former alumni who happens to own a cleaning service who helps us with electrostatic spraying our facility, once a week.
But football is not the only sport affected. The FHSAA fall sports schedule includes football, cross country, golf, swimming and diving, and volleyball. Today, the board discussed 3 options for fall sports. Some say this fall will determine whether many high school athletes will go to college. In Jacksonville, Jamarlo Phillips, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Dreaming of a summer getaway? You're not alone. After months of lockdowns, many Americans are starting to fly again, more of them. New York-based JetBlue Airways says it's seeing a pent-up demand to travel. And today I got an exclusive look behind the scenes at JFK to see how the airline is keeping passengers and crew members safe from coronavirus.
It starts the moment you enter Terminal 5. UV light to disinfect touchscreens. More hand sanitizer stations. And yes, face masks are required. Airlines like JetBlue continue adding new pandemic protocols as Americans look to start traveling again.
Is it safe to get on an airplane?
From my perspective, it's safe to get on an airplane.
Joanna Garrity is JetBlue's president and chief operating officer.
When you think about the safety and health precautions that we have put into place, whether it's facial coverings, whether it's blocking the middle seat on our larger aircraft, all of those factors contribute to a layered approach to safety.
All right, so you've checked in for your flight. You're now boarding. Think of all the places you touch on an airplane. The overhead bins, the armrests on your seat. You even have the seat belts and the tray table in the seat back in front of you. Each one of these high touch points needs to be sanitized before and after each flight.
The process involves this electrostatic mist sprayed into every nook and cranny of the aircraft. After that, another team vacuums and wipes down the cabin.
So that when you get on board an aircraft, it looks clean and it's been disinfected.
Also, the plane's air ducts are equipped with hospital-grade filters.
From the perspective of the coronavirus, the flu, other things on board the aircraft, those are stripped out of the air every 3 minutes.
JetBlue has capped their flights at 80% to give more space on board, but it's not cheap. Airlines overall have been losing billions as people have been reluctant to fly. Now, summer travel demand is slowly starting to climb again.
We're seeing increasing loads. We're seeing, fuller flights into leisure markets.
That is, despite rising COVID cases in several Sunbelt states and a patchwork of travel restrictions like the Tri-States quarantine order. Susan Abigzer just landed from Florida.
I was nervous, and I'm still nervous now. So now I have to stay in the house for 2 weeks.
Travelers are adjusting to this new flying experience, masks and all.
It's something new, but it's something that we have to kind of get used to.
We think about the future trajectory of COVID. It's not going away anytime soon, and so we're going to need to be flexible and manage through this over the coming months.
And in the coming months, this summer, JetBlue plans to launch 30 new routes across the country, including more service out of Newark Liberty. And like so many airlines, the company's been under pressure to slash costs. Just late this evening, the labor union representing JetBlue's pilots say they've reached an agreement that would avoid any furloughs through April of next year.
It's Monday afternoon at Mount Jordan Middle School in Sandy. Business as usual for the kids. But it's a little bit busier for the custodial staff.
With all of the attention that's been given to the coronavirus, the natural question for parents is, what are schools doing?
So what are they doing? Well, they're cleaning every surface that kids touch. That means desks, tables, the cafeteria, restrooms, handrails, drinking fountains, and doors.
Every place a kid could be.
But the district's cleaning staff has gone above and beyond regular cleaning procedures.
This chemical we're using here is hypochlorous acid, and it's 50 times more powerful than chlorine bleach.
But we thought in advance and purchased these special pieces of equipment that spray hospital-grade detergent on all these touch points where kids have their hands.
That little spray gun is also electrostatic. That means it helps the cleaning solution really stick to every surface. Administrators are also planning to put up posters in every school, reminding kids to wash their hands thoroughly and often. They're also hoping to get sanitizer for every classroom.
We're doing this not just in a response to the coronavirus, but for every illness. It's the flu season right now, and we see a lot of kids get sick right now.
Beyond that, officials are also talking about what happens if there is an outbreak and schools close down. They want to make sure that students still have a way to learn.
We are looking at online formats or other ways that we can continue teaching kids. Kids can continue learning even if they're not in school.
School year off virtually seems to be the norm for a lot of these larger or bigger school districts here in mid-Michigan. But Hemlock Public School District has been in school, in classes, for 2 full days now. They're providing a hybrid model. So this morning, we'll show you exactly how they're disinfecting their schools to make sure that students and staff are safe.
There we go. Everywhere that they need, the students are going to be, we are going to be in there disinfecting every day.
So we need to clean those areas daily.
Inside Casey Ling Elementary School in Hemlock, disinfecting and sanitizing high-touch areas, lockers, classrooms is happening frequently. The district partnered with Saginaw-based HOTC Central Cleaning Systems.
We got in with Hemlock with the Victory Electrostatic sprayers. We are going to be using those in the classroom every day.
Those sprayers working harder than your standard disinfectant.
There's more coverage on those than what you would get with just a normal disinfectant wipe.
Superintendent Don Killingbeck says of his 1,200 total students, 90% have opted to return to the classroom this year.
It looks like we'll have approximately 10% that'll choose our remote virtual option.
So to make certain surfaces were cleaned, HOTC trained the custodial staff. Stephanie Baker is custodial head.
It's definitely going to take more time. So our superintendent has brought in more staffing also.
to take care of this because there's more cleaning. More cleaning takes more time.
As a rural school, Killingbeck says social distancing is achievable. Students and staff will have to wear masks, whether all day or at least moving throughout the school. Lunches will be delivery or grab-and-go style, and the school has conjured up an out-of-the-box idea to guarantee social distancing.
We've went the extra mile here at Hemlock Public School District. We've even installed additional sidewalks to make it the availability for parents to drop their student off at the sidewalk and then walk directly into the building.
Now, I was told that those sprayers are using hospital and food grade disinfectants, which basically means they are non-toxic for the staff and students here at Hemlock Public Schools. Reporting live from Hemlock this morning, Blake Keller, WNEM TV5.
Well, a couple in Herman has a new cleaning business they say will help protect against the spread of COVID-19. Pete Philbrick and his wife Betsy recently brought the Germinator franchise to Maine. They say the cleaning products they use are part of a safe, non-toxic sanitizing and disinfecting process. The company specializes in taking care of places like schools, universities, daycares, and medical offices. The first step is to come in and disinfect an area using electrostatic sprayers, which they say work against COVID-19. And antimicrobial coating is then sprayed to protect surfaces for up to 90 days from bacteria, mold, and mildew.
We'll come in before treatment and after treatment and we'll swab multiple surfaces in the structure to see how much live organic matter is on the surface. And that's really a way to validate and prove that what we're using is working effectively.
They also clean homes and other residential properties. To learn more, you can visit GerminatorBangor.com.